Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and hopefully JP's first son, Tim Hoey, will join us shortly after this crazy storm that we just had for the last 10 minutes. The Professor losing power. Joe's having it right now. We don't know if Timmy's submerged underwater, but we're going to bring on
his boat is capsized.
Yeah, right. All right, boys. We start with the New England Patriots and breaking news from the Grandstanders Live desk. Stephon Gilmore, he tests positive for COVID. Now all of a sudden we have arguably our two biggest stars, Cam Newton and Gilmore, out because of the virus. Russell, how can this Patriots continue on when they're losing such players?
Well, not very well with respect to the quarterback. They'd probably be able to withstand the defensive back loss, right, Joe? But as we saw, look, guys, it's been a long time. You know, Brady would go out and have a game where he was a C+ or maybe even a C-. It's been a long time since we've had a failing grade at quarterback like we saw on Monday night, right?
Well, and also, they're not going to be able to practice all week.
Yeah, right. No practice.
And so no reps for Stidham to even get back involved in the offense.
Yeah.
Hey, boys.
All right, Timmy.
Hey, Timmy.
Look, Patriots 2-2. Look, Cam Newton, we appreciated the 3 games he played, but to have to play Brian Hoyer and Garrett Stidham tells me what it should tell you, that if Bill had played those guys during this season and not signed Cam Newton, it was tanking for Trevor.
Yeah, neither of them played very well. You know, Stidham didn't get an F, but he wasn't great. He threw another pick that luckily got called back because of a penalty. And that's what rookie quarterbacks do, is they throw the ball around, right? And they get it picked off a lot. And we're just not used to seeing those kinds of mistakes. So yeah, if they had to play 16 games with those guys at quarterback, from what we saw, they'd been lucky to win 5 or 6.
You know, I was at a Patriots game when Peyton Manning first came to the Colts. I don't know if I remember this correctly. I think he got intercepted 6 times.
Yeah.
Something close.
Is that the right numbers?
Yeah.
Either 5 or 6. Yeah, 5 or 6.
And I'll tell you a little story. I just happened to be hanging out with Irsay, the owner of the Colts, that day. And I said, what do you got here? This guy just threw 6 interceptions. And he just took another. I think he downed an entire glass of booze after.
Yes, he did. Well, look, Brian Hoyer is not a starting quarterback, nor is he a legitimate quarterback in the NFL.
Oh.
Jared Stidham is what he is, a 4th-round pick out of an SEC school. He's a flyer. There is no reason why there should have been talk this offseason that Stidham was going to be our starting quarterback.
Well, you have to give Stidham a little break, Scotty. I mean, he got thrown into a tough situation in the middle of the 3rd quarter. He's not ready, and he's behind, and they tell him, you got to get out there and throw.
Right. He's running the scout team during the week. He's not getting snaps with the first-team offense. How many snaps with the first-team offense do you think Stidham's had over the past month, Joe?
Obviously, yeah, because he's the 3rd quarterback. This is the first game he's dressed.
Yeah.
Look, you're right. Russell, you're right.
And he was playing from behind, which is even worse. You know, it's designed to make you look bad.
But, you know, Brian Hoyer, who's been in the league for a long time, I know most of the time he's holding a clipboard. Yeah. But at the end of the half was about as egregious of a decision that I've ever seen a quarterback make. I don't care, even Pee-wee, Pop Warner.
Right.
He had 8 seconds back there. They told him that he needed to get rid of the ball, and then he takes a sack, and then he's turning around to ask for a timeout he hasn't had.
No, he looked like he was embarrassed and he was trying to fool the ref, maybe, you know. And no one was buying his act there.
But the whole
he screwed up.
You know, are you telling me that, like, Josh McDaniels didn't mention we don't have any timeouts?
Oh, he knew. He knew. That was a half-hearted hoping that there was a timeout.
If you had told me that Stidham would make that mistake at the end of a half, I'd have believed you, right? But not Brian Hoyer. Scott, your point is dead on. Like he's in there because he's not going to make that mistake, and then he went and made the mistake.
I have to be honest with you. You know, obviously, Bill Belichick's is an impressive coach, maybe the greatest coach of all time. But his game plan, his defensive game plan and offensive game plan for what he was given to as far as players was exceptional. I believe one of the top 10 game plans in the history of Bill Belichick being the coach of the Patriots. He somehow had figured out the equation how to win that game. And with a couple of opportunities were missed, he could have won that game with the group that he had.
Well, it was squandered opportunity after squandered opportunity, both on offense and defense.
But it was a masterpiece.
The 2 dropped interceptions and maybe the non-call on Calhoun's touchdown.
Yeah. I agree, Scott. I thought it was a masterpiece. I mean, that defense had Mahomes looking like he didn't want to be out there, and it wasn't. It was just he was confounded for most of the night.
They had the coverage in the backfield, and then whatever their pass rush was, they had all of his escape routes covered. His whatever tricks he has, they knew where he was going when he got pressed for time. They were waiting for him.
And Russell, you nailed it. He became disinterested, and that's.
I think so.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, we heard a lot of hype about Damien Harris from last year. Ivan Fears talked highly about him, the running backs coach. He was out on IR for the first 3 games of this season. All of a sudden, game 4, here comes Damien Harris. Sony Michel goes in the IR conveniently, Joe. And next thing you know, Damien Harris is running downhill.
Oh, ran hard. That's what I liked about it. He ran like Burkhead runs, only he's a little bigger.
Right, and faster.
Yeah. Although he did run, the conditioning needs a little work. He did run out of gas on that long one and had to step out of bounds,
But he looks like a player, Timmy.
Oh, this is, I was shocked that he didn't get a few more touches last year. I got to be honest with you. I watched him quite a bit at Alabama, and there was a guy at Alabama sitting on the bench, Najee Harris, who, might be one of the all-time great running backs coming into the pros in a couple of years. And this guy was getting snaps over him. So, I mean, he was the real deal in college, and I couldn't believe it. Wasn't like we had,
we had balance.
But we didn't have Gale Sayers running the ball for us last year. This guy sat on the bench, and he could have been the best running back on the team sitting on the bench.
Well, and I do think that, and Joe pays more attention to this than all of us do, maybe combined, is the offensive line was held together with spit and bubblegum the other night, and they played pretty well. That kid Onwenu is it seems to be a player, Joe.
That Illuminor, he Pro Football Focus had him graded out as elite.
Really?
Pass protection. The run was not quite up to that, but you stop and think he had 3 starters out. Cannon,
right?
Max, Shaq Mason, and David Andrews.
And how about 2 rookies on the right side? Onwenu and Heron, right? Amazing.
Both the 6th-round picks this year.
And this is 2 weeks in a row
with the offensive line coach.
This is 2 weeks in a line where the O-line has really stepped up. I mean, Sony Michel was running through gaping holes the week before.
Yeah, that's a great point, Joe. Got to give props. We gave props to Dante for the last 500 years. I don't know whoever the offensive line coach is. He's coaching them up.
Somehow, some way. Or Dante was the guy that scouted them at the Senior Bowl. So you got to give tip of the hat to him, too.
Well, I mean, this is a question for you guys. I think we were texting about this. I don't know about you, but don't we feel better about this team after that game than we did before it?
Oh, we sure.
Well, if they'll play going forward, yes.
Yeah.
Again, this was just like the Seattle loss. I came out of it. Obviously, it was an ugly game, and I knew my expectations were that the Patriots were going to lose. But I came on that if we have Cam and we face the Chiefs again in the playoffs, I like our chances.
Yeah, I have faith that Belichick has it up his sleeve to throw something at them that they've never seen before and to give us a fighting chance.
But the problem is, boys, and we talked about this after game 2 when Julian Edelman had his greatest game in the regular season as far as receiving yards. And we said, geez, he looks like a guy who's already, in the AFC Championship game as far as the wear and tear. Well, come to fast forward to Game 4. Game 3, he only had 2 catches. Game 4, he's literally a non-entity until all of a sudden he lets the ball go through his hands and it goes back for 6.
Yeah.
He was doing the old duck and cover. He wanted no part of contact yesterday.
Timmy, I noticed the same thing. His first 2 receptions of the game, which happened in the same drive, I think, he fell down immediately after catching them both.
That's not the Julian Edelman.
Issue.
That's not the guy we've grown used to. He has fought for every inch that he could possibly get on every catch that we've ever seen him.
Yeah.
And he was diving for cover the second he got the ball.
I'm going to bet it's a head injury. I'm going to bet he's trying to protect his.
That was a pathetic excuse Romo tried to give him after the pick 6 too.
But what is that somehow just calling that play was the wrong play call, and that would
that he had gotten bored from inaction and he just didn't realize the ball was coming to him.
Just catch the ball.
This is what happened. What's happened with Wes Welker too. It ends quick with guys.
Yeah, it does.
Taking
these guys go off a cliff. These guys who've been beat up, smaller guys have been beat up. It goes off a cliff. And remember, his boy Tommy Brady's not with him either. Let's not forget that.
I'll tell you,
Scotty's favorite gun is still available there to come in and replace him.
I'll tell you this. I only played a few years of college hockey, and I'm still limping around from some of the stuff that happened. God knows what Edelman is going to look like when he's 40, 45 years old. That guy has taken a beating.
Yes, he has.
Well, first of all, I have to mention the defensive line I thought played strong again. Lawrence Guy, Adam Butler. Of course, we have to talk about Chase Winovich for another week. The guy, he may not protect the edge, and I've seen a couple of highlights where plays that he did protect the edge. But this is, guys, a legitimate pass rusher.
Oh, yeah, and he doesn't quit. That's the important thing. If the first move doesn't work, he uses move 2, 3, and 4.
I chalk it up to the hair. The haircut, he'll lose all his superpowers.
But what kind of player is he, Russ, moving forward?
Looks like he's a 3-down player. I think Joe's right. He's got to, or you were right, he's got to be able to set the edge and protect against the running game. But that'll come. He'll get a little bit bigger over time, and he'll learn the techniques there. That was a good pick. These last couple of drafts, some of these guys are starting to pan out, which is exactly what this team needed, is the young guys to be able to step in and play well.
And Isaiah,
the 2 guys we talked about, Winovich and Harris, were the 3rd rounders the last few years.
That's right. Yeah.
But boys, Isaiah Wynn, we haven't had any discussion about Isaiah Wynn and the letters IR.
That's right.
He's been fine. Right?
He's been fine. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody thought that Isaiah Wynn didn't lack in talent. They just thought, will he be able to stay on the field?
Right.
I didn't look at the snap counts, but he hasn't been playing the whole game either.
Well, I assume he played the whole game against the Chiefs because they had nobody probably left in the bench.
Yeah, the tackles were at a premium. All they have for backup is that one from with an unpronounceable name that they got from Baltimore there.
Look, I thought the defensive backs played much better in this game than, of course, they played against Seattle. But Devin McCourty, of course, another interception that he should have had. It was right in his hands. I just think that he's a weak link in that defensive backfield.
You mean Jason McCourty or Devin McCourty?
Devin McCourty.
Oh, I don't think he's
still
a
the
weak
glue
link.
that holds it together.
Yeah.
He's the great communicator. He's the quarterback. He's a step slow. I'll give you that, Scotty. He's a step slow, and he's not getting there. But he's the one that coordinates it back there.
I know, but being a step slow is not really a good description of the guy who's supposed to be making tackles. And look, putting himself in position to intercept. Had he made that interception, that was a game changer.
Might have been a different game.
That's a
lot of game changers.
Yeah, there are a half dozen game changers for sure.
Right, and Timmy, when you're playing a game against the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium, you have to be perfect.
Yeah, with that game plan, it was the perfect game plan. Russ brought it up before. Scotty, you brought it up. Top 10 greatest game plans. I mean, we had talked about the gamblers earlier, and I mean, was there a person in the country that bet on the Patriots yesterday? I don't know. And I think we're all in shock that it was close. But we had a limit the turnovers, and they had to take advantage of every opportunity that they had, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, Kansas City covered. They won by 16 points.
Oh, yeah.
easily.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a lot of people sweating in this country for a while because I mean, there was talk of Vegas taking that game off the board, you know?
Oh, I got to tell you about point spreads. I don't know if you guys watched the game last night. About 15 seconds left, and Max tells me the Lakers are favored by 7. I think they were up by 8 or 9 or 8. They were up by 8. And they were going to cover, and Hero hits a 3-pointer at the end of the game. Doesn't make any sense.
That's why you do not.
That's why you never bet on basketball.
You never bet on basketball.
Ever,
that is you have to be a crazy person to bet on basketball these days. Maybe 10 years ago, where you could figure it out, but not anymore. No way.
I remember Terry Durod once. I was at a game, and he did that. Because he was a junk player. He hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer. Somehow it changed the point spread. Oh, my God. 15,000 people wanted to kill that.
Yeah.
All right, so, boys, we got the Denver game. It's your shitty quarterback against our shitty quarterback. A third
string is galore.
Yeah,
can I ask you a question? Do we know that Cam cannot play? Has it been determined that he can't play this Sunday?
No.
Okay.
If he might be able to play if he continues to have negative tests.
I see. Yeah.
I'm going to bet.
Because he's asymptomatic.
I'm going to bet they give him the week off. They get a bye week after this week, and they let it settle down, and he just plays in a couple.
I think with the news of Gilmore, they're going to have to.
I have to go for a second here, guys.
Yeah. All right. So predictions. Look, we're 2-2. The Bills are 4-0. We can't afford to lose any more games. We can't afford to definitely lose them in our conference. This is a big game. Predictions, Russell.
Patriots win 24-16.
Okay. Uncle Joe.
If the game is played at all, I'll go Patriots. That sounds really good, Russ.
Come on,
I'll
Joe.
go. I'll just go with lucky sevens, 27-17.
Okay, in a field goal fiasco, 12-9, the Patriots win. Look, if you have third string quarterbacks, it should be ugly, and in front of nobody, it'll be ugly. All right, just want to mention before we go to the Celtics, the whole tanking for Trevor may not have worked. There are 4 teams, boys: the Jets, the Giants, the Falcons, and the Texans, who are 0-4 right now. So
it was always
it felt like tanking for Trevor.
It was always the flaw in the I don't want to say the argument. It was the flaw in the aspiration that you and Timmy had, which is, Belichick is going to inadvertently coach you to 4 wins, right? And these other teams are just horrible teams and with horrible coaches.
It was let Brady walk away.
Yeah.
And talk every decent player on the team into opting out because of COVID.
Right.
Save their bodies for a year, right?
Right.
They'll come back fresh as daisies, and we get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
That was my master plan.
And play with 9 guys in the field on offense and defense.
Yeah.
That's what the Jets have been doing. And it's going to be very interesting because the Jets and the Giants have 2 young quarterbacks that they've hyped. I'm sure there's an article out there somewhere that says they're the future of the NFL, with the New York hype.
Yeah.
Jones and Darnell, and they both.
We don't know what the
right
schedule
now, the
is.
Giants have the lead.
Yeah, we don't know what the schedule was, but if we had 2 of these Ofer teams playing each other, it would be an interesting game to watch.
That's for sure. All right, go to the Celtics. A little administrative. Jason Tatum needs to sign a max deal. I assume that happened.
Yeah, they won't wait. The only question is, will it be 4 or 5 years? Will it give him an option? It's the biggest no-brainer there is for Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
And for his agent, he likes it here. Doesn't want to go anywhere else, and he gets the most money here. No-brainer for him too.
Yeah. We're glad that Jaylen Brown signed last offseason because had he been a free agent this year, he'd be making max.
And Marcus Smart signed now too.
Yep.
So the chorus will be taken care of. Now let's see if Danny can put the right people around him.
The big man. We need the big athletic man in the middle.
Danny's main job this offseason is to get rid of the grandpa. He has to get rid of him.
No, he's opting in, Scotty. He's opting in.
Look, if he could, look, that Gobert Hayward deal, I dream about. Oh my God, literally, no, really, if you were to get Gobert, the list would almost be done, the shopping list.
Yeah, get a backup point guard that can shoot.
Right,
Be
exactly.
golden.
Yeah.
A pure shooter and a big man.
Yeah, there could be a trade to be made with Indiana. I've seen that a couple times for Miles Turner and then one of their guards, maybe even Oladipo, who's got a expiring contract. So
then there are shopping list. You'd be done.
Pardon me? Yeah, then you're completely done. Yeah, you'd have to give up Hayward and a bunch of picks and players.
Get those
How
shitty
fast can you do it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Lakers, you assume that I was thinking of you, Uncle Joe, last night. It's just going to be a businessman sweep, right? 5 games.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. But Miami gave it the old college try coming on in, but it's not happening. They're too banged up and too tired, and it's just the Lakers are too good. That starting 5 is too good.
Well, Anthony Davis proved to be what we all thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just a force that's unstoppable.
But he's
And Rondo can feed him. What the Celtics did to Embiid, you can't do. Rondo just has the touch with Davis.
But
is Rondo a potential Hall of Famer? I don't know. No. But I mean, when you put the right pieces around Rondo, he is deadly.
He would have looked good with the Celtics this year.
Backup point guard, we could have used him.
Big time. Yeah.
They picked him up for nothing, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A couple years ago, if he doesn't get hurt in that Chicago series, I think we lose to Chicago.
Yeah.
Look, the Lakers were hurt when Avery Bradley opted out, or this team would have been a lot more off the bench. But look, this is what would have happened to the Celtics. They were lost in 5 games.
I think so. You just see LeBron did not play a good first half last night, and he still went out and just dominated that. He's an incredible basketball player. Like, he's just
even after all these years, he's still.
Oh my God!
And I know Joe agrees with me. I don't care. And I told the boys last night when we were watching the game, LeBron James is so much better than Michael Jordan in the history of their careers. It's not even close.
I vote for LeBron as well, for sure. Yeah. I do.
His physical,
by any measure.
His body, it was like it was made by God to be the perfect basketball player.
Yeah.
And he's a better leader.
He's bigger, stronger, and faster than everyone else that's ever played the game, I think.
That documentary shows he was a hell of a better leader than Jordan. Jordan was
I think so. And I think he also took care of himself. Now, the training methods are a lot better nowadays, but he took his body much more seriously than Jordan ever did. Between the gambling and the drinking and the this and the that Jordan used to do. If Jordan had taken care of his body, then he'd have been even that much better. But he didn't, and LeBron has. I mean, James is basically, other than a couple of incidents that weren't even bad off the court, just being a dink with the whole "I'm going to Miami's" thing, he's behaved himself really well over the course of his career.
I got to take a hat. He's
I still give MJ his era though. MJ still keeps the era.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
LeBron reminds me of the basketball version of Tom Brady. He's behaved himself. He treats his body like a temple.
Yeah.
He does everything right.
And he's a lot more interesting as far as what comes out of his mouth than Tom Brady. That's just my opinion. All right, Red Sox. Next, let's talk players. I would love George Springer, who's from the Astros, as a free agent. It would be just
you hate Alex Cora, but now you love George Springer.
Yeah, I mean the players. Yeah, look, that was all management. They came up with the idea. The players didn't come up with the idea. Of course, the players are going to be like, "Yeah, you want to tell me what's coming? Sure, absolutely." Mm-hmm. But it would be typical Red Sox to give Springer a similar deal that they gave Mookie Betts. That would be totally Red Sox.
It would, right?
Yeah.
Replace him with a
John
inferior
Lester,
player.
David Price.
Yeah, exactly.
They used to do that with big fat first basemen. They would lose a top player, then they'd go get the Tony Perez's, the Bob Watsons, and then sign them for more. Does George Springer come to the Red Sox? What do you think the chances are?
It
No.
seems like he would be a the kind of guy that Chaim, Bloom would want to sign. I just have no sense. Does anyone have a sense if the Red Sox are gonna spend like crazy this offseason? I just don't. I don't have a feel for it yet.
Johnny, if they don't, they have to lower the prices of those tickets because it's going to look like the Miami Marlins in the stands.
Marlins aren't doing too bad right now.
But I mean, attendance-wise.
Yeah, they have a major PR problem. I mean, they are fourth in this town.
The shine is off the penny. When we were, it wasn't that long ago where you couldn't find a Red Sox ticket to be had. They won the World Series. That took a little of that, that aura that we had of like the old Chicago Cubs, Red Sox aura. Now they've won 4. I mean, it was always like, oh, I have to be there for this moment. That's kind of gone for me. I know that.
It was gone in 2018. As you know, I know a lot about the secondary market. The secondary market was weak in 2018, even in the playoffs.
Right.
If you remember, guys, you can get those playoff tickets for face value.
When you can go out and get a Red Sox tickets for $10, something's wrong. I mean, why buy season tickets when you can get a ticket for $10?
Yeah, so, look, I think they have to lower ticket prices to answer your question, Timmy. I think it's a necessity to get people in the park.
Yeah, they make a lot of money off between TV and attendance and everything else that they could afford to drop the prices and spend for someone like a Springer. Though I think if they're going to spend, they're going to spend it on the pitching staff.
Yeah, they'll make it up on concessions. Just get the bums in the seats. You know what I mean?
Well, that's another company, isn't it? Aramark?
Oh, they're getting a big slice of that pie.
That's a great
I'm sure they get 20% or whatever.
That's a great segue, Uncle Joe, to the next subject. Trevor Bauer. He's a real personality. A really good pitcher. He's going to be a free agent this year, and he's teasing that somehow that he's coming to the Red Sox. I'd love to see Trevor Bauer in a Red Sox uniform. I'm just not paying him big bucks.
Well, do you know what he said though? Which is interesting, and we'll see if he follows through on it. But Bauer has said he's not going to sign more than a 1-year contract with anybody, no matter what. He's just going to play out a series of 1-year contracts.
Perfect for the Red Sox then.
I don't think I'll believe it when I see it on that.
I'll believe that when I see it. Exactly. You're a starting pitcher. You're 1 pitch away from Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
All right. Would you
not getting paid the next year?
Yeah. 1 year of Bauer.
How much?
25.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
1 year for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Fills out the rotation.
Yeah.
The danger of any of these contracts are those 7, 8 year, 9-year contracts.
That's right. Yeah.
Give anybody as much as they want per year.
Look, Russell called it right on the Chris Sale deal, and of course, the same idea with Cam Newton. You want to wait till later into the season. I don't think Chris Sale's ever going to pitch again for the Boston Red Sox. I think I think he's done. Yeah, I just think this is a guy that physically is so fragile. And I'll say it again. I've never seen a skinnier athlete in the history of sports than them. I think he's just broken down. I think you could give him as many Tommy John surgeries as possible. There's nothing left.
And his motion is so violent too. I mean, with the combination of his athletic physique and his violent action, it just doesn't go together.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Bruins to wrap it up. Bruce Cassidy just became a United States citizen. Good
for him.
Good for Bruce. So can I become a Canadian citizen?
If Trump wins, you might want to.
If we make a switch, I can look at him at times. The draft was today, apparently. There's no draft that people don't pay attention to more than the NHL draft.
They got the Krug replacement. The guy they picked is just like Krug. He's a high-scoring defenseman.
No kidding.
How tall is he?
I didn't see the particulars. I just know he was the second highest scorer on his team. He's a left defenseman.
Well, I saw some tweet from some guy who covers the Bruins. It's just a wonderful tweet. Said the Bruins are in on everything. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, that just covers it. So whatever happens, the guy can say, you know, I called that. I told you they were in on that.
That's
The
funny.
Bruins make a big move or they make a small move?
Big. Yeah.
How big?
I think he's going to trade Tuca. I do.
Is that big?
Oh, and there could be a lot of other big names involved, like DeBrusque
Mhm.
and, you know, Krejci. There could be a lot of names
Yeah.
involved.
But Krug still is a member of the Boston Bruins right now, right? He didn't trade his rights. He didn't do anything.
Right. For a few more days, probably, right?
I don't know.
Supposedly, only the first line and McAvoy are off the table. Everyone
Yeah.
else is on the table.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that'd be a mistake if they got rid of Carlo or Grizzly.
Well, Carlo's being dangled big time, I guess. Grizzlick's the replacement for Krug for right now.
That's interesting. Wow. All right, boys, that's our show for tonight. I want to thank the boys, despite the horrible weather, they came through. I want to thank
My internet got knocked out. That's what happened here.
I want to thank Corbin
That-
behind the scenes. Please check us out website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in tomorrow night, Coolidge Corner Clubhouse. Uncle Joe and I will be there from 6 to 7. And guess what? We'll be talking sports. And, of course, whatever food plate they put in front of us, Joe,
We will devour.
for 20 minutes.
And remember, Bud Light Platinums, $5 all day, every day.
That's right. And Joe likes his Bud Light Platinum. Trust me. All right. That's our show for tonight. Have a great and happy night. My name is Scott Krim.